Hello you lot, how you all doing? Now the other day I had a person ask me a question. How does a nitro car actually work? Do you have to have the receiver and the electric switched on to start the engine? And obviously I explained and sorted all that out, but then that made me wonder. If one person's asking that question and wondering that, there must be other people. So let's have a look and I'll tell you all about it. So let's look down here, look. This is probably one of the most basic nitro cars, and I thought this would be a good example for you. Hopefully it'll help some of you understand a bit better on with how they work, and the fact that we know the answer is you don't need your electrics on in order for your engine to work. So basically, well, it is basic. The engine is completely separate from all the electrical system. So the receiver, the servo, and all of that is separate from the engine. You don't need any of that switched on. But let's split it up to help some of you understand. And hopefully if you split up a bit better, you might understand exactly how it works. So you've got your battery, which is in here, which is connected to a switch, which is connected to your receiver, which is connected to your servos. And obviously, as you know, you've got your servo, your receiver receives a message from a transmitter like this one, which you'll know about because you've obviously probably got a nitro car already. So hopefully you've got a bit of an understanding of what a transmitter is and the fact that you've put a battery in there. And then that sends the signal to the servos. Okay, the throttle servo actuates the throttle on the engine and the brakes. The steering servo just simply does the steering. It's as simple as that. You can there's no electrical connection between the servo or any other piece of equipment to the engine. No electrical connection at all. The only connection is by this little rod, which you probably can't see, which goes to the throttle on the carburetor. So you can actually take your engine out, hold it in your hand, you'll have to hold it tight, and start it up if you wanted to. There is no electrical connection. So this means that you don't have to turn on your receiver. This one's probably flat. You don't have to turn that on in order to start your engine. In fact, it's very common. I mean, I do it quite a lot. You just manually make sure that your throttle is closed. You can see that you can move the servos with your hands. Be gentle, don't be too rough, because you can damage them by doing it too much. Little gears inside there, and you can strip them out. But you can move it like that, and that's full throttle, and that's completely shut. That's tick over. So if you wanted to start your engine up without the electrical system, without the receiver, without the radio gear, whatever you want to call it, without that on, let's just say you've not got a battery, it's not charged up, and you don't want to wait for the battery to charge, and you want to start your engine to make sure everything's okay, or just for fun. You don't need to actually have any battery even installed. Make sure manually that the throttle's closed and start it up as you would normally. I'll say it again, there is no electrical connection between the engine and the rest of the car, the electrical system. Like I said, you just have to make sure the throttle's closed. It's as simple as that. And obviously, there are some more complicated nitro cars out there that have got the easy start, Traxxas easy start with the thing at the back, and it heats up the glow plug for you and all of that. Even then, you don't need the receiver to be turned on. You can still do that without the receiver turned on, because the power for the glow plug heater, which is automatic, which wire goes in there, you don't need a glow starter, comes from the battery pack which goes on there. So it's very simple, really. That's basically, in a nutshell, how that works. I know there's a lot of people out there that seem to think they need to have this electrics turned on in order to start it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very good practice to turn your transmitter on. You turn the transmitter on first. Yep, so you've got control, and then you turn the car on. That's just basic standard good practice. I mean, of course you don't have to. There's nothing bad's going to happen if you do it the other way round. But in the olden days, with all the AM radio gear, there was the risk that if you already had the engine started and you turn on the receiver first, it could shoot off. You need to establish the connection with the transmitter first. But that's only if you start your engine first. As I say, it doesn't matter if you start your engine, let that warm up, and then turn your radio gear on, and then go off you go, sort of thing. You don't have to turn on the radio gear first, although I do normally, me personally. I always turn the transmitter on, receiver on, test to make sure it's all working, and then start up the engine and away we go. But yeah, as I say, that is that. That is literally it. There's not a lot else to say about the electrics and the engine. I mean, that's how it works. So, if you have got any questions about either this FTX Carnage, on how certain things on this work, because this is one of the most basic nitro cars that you could get, one of. If you've got any questions about this one, or any questions about any nitro car, just put it in the comments and I'll do my best, and other people as well, to try and help you out. And if I think it's enough and it warrants a video, I'll do a video on it and try and explain it a bit better than that. But there you go. I hope that helped some of you lot. I'll catch you on the next one.